and welcome. My name is Rainer Bühne, and I'm a Product Owner, Architecture and Attributes at ALLPLAN in Munich. I would like to talk to you about attribute management today. Would you like to make your BIM planning easier and better with structured attribute sets? You can do this in ALLPLAN and meet your needs and those of your customer. About 40% of planners are doing BIM planning today, and in future it will be about 80% who plan to work with BIM in the next years. You, as a planner, need methods that help you to enrich information easily. So, how can we support you not to forget important information? Attribute sets to structure your information, and IDS for rule-based control. BIM planning does not only mean planning in 3D. You probably know this. The most important thing in building information management is the term information, that is mainly stored in attributes. Information about components and information about building structure is enriched with attributes. Attribute sets, also known as property sets or simply P-sets, help you to focus to the important ones. The benefit: the BIM model gets more valuable and enables further processing and collaboration. Attribute sets organize your attributes into groups to provide a better overview. Building Smart defines such sets. The basic information for a column, for example, is the P-set column common. Clients who require BIM planning are increasingly demanding the delivery of attribute sets. And large clients usually require the delivery of their special attribute sets because they have special needs. For you, as a planner, it is a benefit if your program supports you in focusing to attribute sets and exporting it to IFC later. This saves time and money. ALLPLAN supports you with these typical requirements. First, supply IFC-based structures to export a high-quality standard IFC file. This is the standard use case. Attribute sets according to your own structure. With the years you will adapt it more and more. And third, attribute sets according to the client specifications, especially for larger customers. Let's take a look how the workflow goes in practice. For this heat exchanger in the middle of the screen, we want to create a new attribute set. This heat exchanger is not yet in the attribute sets template, so we open the project properties and now the template for the attribute sets and add the new object we want to edit, a Model A heat exchanger. Now our new object exists, and we now connect it to the standard IFC heat exchanger for the IFC export. Then we adapt the name to something meaningful, and then we adapt the content. We delete 3 attributes and add a new one, and then we are done with our new attribute set with 3 attributes. Now we have defined it. Then we want to use it. We select our heat exchanger, select the Model A heat exchanger we have just created. You can see it here, and then we see here is our attribute sets with the 3 attributes exactly as we have defined it some seconds before. You see, it's very easy, it's very quickly done. If you want to integrate a cloud solution, this is also possible with BIM Plus attribute sets. BIM Plus is the cloud solution of ALLPLAN. You can define these attribute sets in BIM Plus in a similar way like we've seen it just in ALLPLAN, and then link and use it in ALLPLAN. On the right-hand side of the slide you can see the default entry BIM Plus. This is all you have to do on ALLPLAN side to connect it to the attribute sets you have defined in BIM Plus. Then let's come to the second point I want to talk to you, IDS. IDS is a newer standard and stands for Information Delivery Specification. It is also defined by Building Smart, who define the well-known IFC format. The benefit is the reduced work and time to generate required information. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the logos of IDS and IFC. You can see they have the same color coding and belong to the same family from Building Smart. This is an example how a rule in an IDS editor is created. The conditions are put together like building blocks. For a column with material concrete, an attribute should set automatically fire rating F60. This is our little rule that we want to set up here in the IDS editor. On the slide you can see it's done by kind of building blocks in the software. It's quite easy and done in a few seconds. The same example in another IDS editor with a little bit different layout. You can see it's done in a similar way and then can be saved. Of course, you can save not only one rule in the IDS file, you can save hundreds or even more. What is the next step? When the IDS file is saved, you can load it in the ALLPLAN project. What is the result in ALLPLAN? If the condition material is concrete, then the upper attributes are created and set up to the value described in the rule for all objects. You don't have to care about that because ALLPLAN does fulfill this requirement automatically. On the slide you can see on the lower side the material is set to concrete and all attributes on the upper side are assigned automatically. Following the rules, you don't have to care about that. IDS does not only offer simple rules, it offers also restrictions. There are 4 examples known: enumerations, pattern, bounds, length. What is this? An enumeration is a list that you can use and can be restricted in this example to F30, F60, F90 and not, for example, F120. Pattern, in this case, is ABZ followed by 2 numbers. That means an A12 would fit the pattern, a word like concrete, not. Bounds, very easy to understand, is a number from 1 to 10 and not out of the bound. Length, in this case 12 characters, is used if your client will process the data further on and his program forces him to only restrict it to 12 characters, and it does not make any sense if you deliver 20. ALLPLAN supports you in a meaningful way to follow all these restrictions. To come to an end, I would briefly show you the workflow in an overview with the 3 steps. These 3 steps are: define with an IDS editor like Solibri, rules are defined. This is typically done by a BIM manager, either in your office or at your client. Second, create information. ALLPLAN automatically creates required attributes and supports you a lot to follow the rules. Third, check information. A BIM checking software like Solibri checks if the rules are fulfilled. And if ALLPLAN has helped you right, the rules should be fulfilled. The first and the third step are typically done by a BIM manager, either in your office or at your client. You can see ALLPLAN will offer a wide range of support to work with attribute sets and IDS files to help you in your practice. Thank you for your attention.